Good morning, grade sixes, and welcome to your IXL lesson for today. We are going to continue with our DD section, data and graphs. I feel like the graph should also have a D, start with a D as it's DD data, and well then it should be a DG section, right? Okay, so we've done a whole lot of graphs. Today we're going to be looking at circle graphs and circle graphs with fractions. And then also looking at line graphs, interpreting line graphs. So let's have a look at circle graphs today. First, okay, teachers at Yardley Elementary School asked students to name their favorite desserts. Favorite desserts, there they are. Brownies, 1/3 of the students picked brownies, okay? So say there's a survey and like Brooklyn's going around with hair and maybe Ava's going around with what do you want on your cake? Or we've had a few of these circulate the class this year. And that's great because every person has a little tally mark and they've done their vote, and then they take the total and they divide it up amongst the whole, right? And so out of the whole class, 1/3 of the class chose brownies as their favorite dessert. Now, this is a good class because I agree 100%. Some of you are like, I would much prefer ice cream. So 1/6 of the class chose ice cream, frozen yogurt, 1/12. Frozen yogurt, candy, 1/6 pudding, 1/12, and cookies, 1/6. So here, trying to understand this at this point is a little bit too much. So we're going to just look at what does this look like. Each section is colored a different color so that you can easily see the different segments. It's like a big pizza. Can you imagine like somebody took that much pizza and somebody took that much pizza, right? So that's how it's kind of divided up. Question says, which dessert got the most votes? Well, you can see that the biggest piece would have the most votes. So in this case, it is the brownies. Brownies got the most votes. Let's look at this circle. Some players on a co-ed basketball team compared the total number of points they scored over the course of a year. Josiah and I right now are missing our basketball even more. One day. Points scored in basketball. So Marco scored 1/3, Jessica scored 4/9, and Eduardo 2/9. Okay. Which list is arranged from the highest scoring player to the lowest scoring player? So the highest scoring player is the one that has the biggest chunk of the pizza pie, whatever, right? So Jessica has the biggest one, and then next would be Marco would be the next, and ending with Eduardo being the least or the lowest scoring player. So we've got to look for the list that starts with Jessica. Here we go. Jessica, there's 2 that start with Jessica. We've got to look for the one that ends with Eduardo. Is that the correct one? Yes, it is. Jessica, Marco, Eduardo. Let's look at one more together. A dealership in Cedarburg records it records its yearly revenue from each class of vehicle. So vehicle sales, you've got sports cars and coupes. So from which class of vehicle was revenue lower? Lower means they brought in less money. And you can see that the smaller piece of pie belongs to sports cars. All right, so you can continue working with those. We will be able to do a couple more of the more difficult ones today on our Zoom lesson. So I hope to see you guys there. Interpret line graphs. Let's have a look at that. DD15. Okay. Eva, an analyst at a shipping company, reviewed historic postal rates in order to predict future rate increases. US first class postal rate. Now, Mr. Champion had a great little lesson with us on graphing, and just the point of graphs is to show a pattern. And so you can see the pattern has gone from something near the bottom and going up and up and up. It kind of levels off every now and then, it increases and levels off and increases. Okay, and this is the price of posting a letter, let's say. So it started in 1967. It started at 5 cents, and then it increased to 6 cents the next year, And it didn't increase from 1998 to 1999, in 1970. So for 3 years, it stayed at 6 cents. And then suddenly it shot up, boom, 2 cents. It went up 2 cents in 1 year, which may have been a little bit of a shock to the people, because 2 cents per letter, especially if you're a company and you're sending out a ton of letters for marketing or whatever it is. Yeah, so and then it stayed for 3 years, and then it shot up another 2. I think I might prefer it to go up 1 a little bit more often, maybe, so that it's not like a 2 cents hike in a graph. So that's understanding what this, remember, you've got 3 headings for a graph. You've got your overall heading. What is this graph showing? The US first class postal rate. On the left, you've got these numbers, and that's the price in cents. Have a look here again. You've got this little squiggle. So as it goes 5, 6, 7, they're going up in ones, but here it's going from 0 to 5. So that's why they do a little squiggle, because it cuts out the bottom part of the graph, which doesn't contain any data. And sometimes this can be quite misleading, because it looks like it was a really low rate to start with. But if you add it on 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, then zero's dot would be kind of down here. So it actually would have been in the middle of that graph. So it then looks a little bit more expensive. Here, they're trying to show you that, oh, look how cheap it was, right? So this is a tactic that people use when they present graphs. So be looking out for that. It's kind of like, it's not entirely fake news, but they're trying to mislead you by changing these kinds of things. Okay, so 1967, these are the years. So you've got a heading of years. So you'll always have numbers or words, and then a heading which tells you what those are. Okay, so what is the question? In which year on the graph was the postal rate the highest? So we look, where is it the highest? At that point is the highest. It's at 10 cents. So which year is that? 1974. Obviously, as it goes on, we're not at 1974 anymore. We're now at 2020. So I think this is going to hike hugely from this point. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Maybe that's a nice find out. What is the first class US postal rate right now? And you could see, maybe even continue the graph. It'd be very interesting. Let's look at another one. During a meeting, the editor of the Pemberton Chronicle showed her staff that too many spelling errors were making it into the newspaper. Spelling errors made in the Pemberton Chronicle. So 100 errors. Wow, this year 95 spelling errors made it into that newspaper. That's quite a lot. And these are the months, right? See the heading? So here's the question. In which month were the most spelling errors made? So you look at the top of the graph, the most one is at 95. Which month was that? We look straight down, it was October. And this has apparently been edited, revised, and proofread anyway, and then still 95 spelling errors got through. Mrs. Gutierrez hosts an annual art contest for kids. Art contest, just a reminder. And she keeps a record of the number of entries each year. So here are the art contest entries. The number of entries here, remember, see, this is perhaps a misleading graph again. And these are the years, right? Year up to 2019. So this is much more current than the previous one we looked at. In which year on the graph did the art contest have the fewest entries? So fewest, that means we look at the bottom of the graph. Where is it at its lowest point? Here it is over here, and that is in the year 2014. Okay, and that is the math for today. Work hard. We will go through this section, DD, at whatever anyone's struggling with today. During our Zoom call, but we will chat about a few other things at the beginning. So please do make it. Some people have been not showing up lately. I don't know if it's warm weather and you feel something else is important, but this is still school until the end of the month. And then we've got some great things until the middle of June to do still. All right, so I hope that you have a good time today. Get your work done quickly, and then you can go and enjoy this beautiful weather. Thanks for coming. Ciao for now.